Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm in the car, so heading home. Heading home to do whatever. Whatever comes in the 48 hours. Whatever Jesus has in mind. Well, who's ready to dig into part 3 of this? Hopefully you guys have watched the first part and the second part. I haven't really got any questions on it, so I gather we're all good so far. So, what does it mean by darkness? Darkness could be the 3-day of darkness, like people say. You know I talked a lot about the blood moon and the rising and all these things that are taking place. It is. The Antichrist is rising. Now, you look at the darkness, and you look at the eclipse, the sun turning blackened. We can assume that's exactly what it is. Now, I know a lot of people. I've been hearing all over that a lot of people are going out and putting fuel in their vehicles, stocking up on food. Now, not necessarily means that they're in fear, because a lot of people are traveling to where it's best to be seen. Personally, I don't see the great thing in this. I really don't. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen them. I mean, what difference does it make if it's a bunch or little or the whole thing's covered? For, what is it, like 6 minutes? 9 minutes? I got a lot of better things to do with my time than to worry about that craziness and all the speculations and everything that goes with it. Now, I know a lot of you, and I'm not taking this lightly, people. I know some of you are very scared about what people say and the governments and the warnings and all these things. Do I personally believe this is going to start the rapture? Is the rapture coming in the 3 days? No, I don't personally believe this. I don't. I believe, my belief on this is, and I mean this truly from my heart, and I'm not trying to upset anybody, I'm just telling you how I feel about this. My personal belief, God can do whatever He wants. God knows the time, the day, and the hour. No one else, not even Jesus. Why? Because Jesus is obedient. We ask, we shall seek. We do not have, because we do not ask. So, now hold on a second. You got to be careful what you're asking for. Right? That's a whole different topic. So, now that we're into this, fear. Remember back in some of the videos where I said that they've learned a lot by COVID. They learned how they can keep us enclosed, how to control how much population's out, what do you do with this and that. Everybody went out and got dogs, and then the dog pounds become overflooded in the streets. Well, what they think was going to happen, because nobody wants to pay that money to return them, so they just dump them off. Is that fair for the pet? No. Is it fair that we even have such rules as that? Well, 2 wrongs don't make a right. You should have done the right thing and paid whatever it was to restock that animal back into. And I hate to say it like that, but that's exactly what it is. You're basically just restocking that dog back into a place that somebody else may come and want to adopt that dog. So that being said, is it worth it? Is it worth being in fear? Now, what if I said to you, personally, standing face to face with you, you're looking me right in the eyes. I'm driving, so I can't do that very long. And I said to you, there's going to be a massive shooting at your place tomorrow. A massive shooting. Would you go to work? Would you question it? Would you be fearful? Would you be feared you're going to lose your job? Would you be feared all day long if you did go? Every little ping, every little noise, any little groan, or anybody moving back quickly in a different direction. Fear. Now you're starting to see why fear is of the devil. But now you know why government and people use fear. Why do we dress up in masks at Halloween? Because you're fearful of it. I remember back in the day when people used to make fun of me, and I said, "You think this is bad? Wait till I take off this mask and you see really what's underneath." Nobody ever really understood it. It was just a way to go, really? I don't know. Sometimes I got a little different way of looking at life. People can make you harden. Words have power, and the government knows it. See, you look at China, Russia, they're feared. You know why? Because there's action. They don't just say it, they back it up. United States, not so much. What did Jesus tell us to go out and do? Previously in the Bible, what did he tell the disciples? Go out and do what? Heal? Cast out demons? Yeah, you're right. Keep going. Feed the hunger, do good works, do good deeds. You're right. You're right. Yep, you're all so far right. Good answers. We're still missing one. Who's got it? Okay, you with the hand up. You're right. Preach the word of God. Preach the messages. We are to be the messengers. We're too silent, people. Somebody else is going to do it. I don't want to do it. But what did he tell the Pharisees? You hypocrites. Why? Because they were boastful and they were raising their hands up. And you look at today, what it is the same as those, the ones that went into church, raised their hands up, praise hallelujah, and the rest of the week not so good. You look at the different type of people that won't enter heaven. The ones that had never received him, rejected him, walked away, did not know him, don't want to know him, and has nothing nice to say the whole time you even speak of it. Most of them will walk away. We know they will be rejected from heaven. Now you look at the different and other types. You have the types that go to church, do all the right things, go through there, even if they're baptized with water. You got to be baptized with water. Does that mean you're baptized with water and you automatically got that golden ticket? No, that falls under once saved, always saved, people. A true person of Christ, when you receive Christ, you accept Christ, you're baptized in the water, and you go out, you do not return. What does the Bible say? I think it's Proverbs that speaks of this. Don't quote me on this because, but I'm almost positive it's Proverbs that speaks. When it speaks of the swine going back and rolling in the mud, and it goes on to the whole reenacting of what this animal would do and that animal would do. Think about it. What does that represent in art? What does that mean to us? It means this. If you are a swine and you received Christ, you accepted him into your life, to be over your life, you have to expect change, good and bad. Bad means you may not want some of that stuff to be removed from your life. Too bad. It's best for you. People may be out of your life. Things, property, whatever, jobs. How many of you want to change jobs, but you haven't prayed to God and asked him, what do you have for me, Lord? For some reason, I just don't feel like I ever fit in at these places. Because you don't. You're excited about a new job and you get in there in a couple months, you're going, wow, no. Why? Why? Because you didn't pray. Oh, that's right. Let's get back to the swine. We'll get back to that. Now, and I don't think you're probably going to want me to finish skipping the end of that one. But I'm not going to. All right. So, are you comparing us to pigs, Nelson? No, I'm not comparing us to pigs. Well, yeah, kind of. Are you offended? Good. This time, good. Hopefully now you're listening. Because sometimes when you're mad, you're listening. You may puff your lips out and you may grit your teeth and you may give that dirty look and you might give that snarl. But I'm just going to look at you and smile. Because when I tell you what I'm about to tell you, you're just going to sit back in your seat and go, oh. Because like the pigs that were clean got left alone with the world's ways of people again because they didn't want to let it go and they went right back to what they were doing. Peter did the same thing. He went back to fishing. The wrong kind of fishing, but he went back to it. We tend to go back to them crowds. And we tend to start acting like pigs and rolling around in the mud and the urine and the, all the fluids of a pig. So let's just leave it at that. Now, these people, you will not enter heaven. You won't. You know why? Because it falls under the teaching, you cannot serve two masters. You're going to give to one of the, you're already giving more to the other master than you are Jesus. How many of you have gone into work and your boss, maybe you go directly to the owner of the company, which I have many times, the owner of the company, and I was under the owner of the company. Or I had a supervisor that went to a supervisor that went to, you ever hear that song? I heard it from a friend that heard it from a friend. It's kind of like that deal. No, I'm not trying to get you to listen to garbage music. I'm just saying that's what came to my mind when I was saying it. See how fast the devil wants to detour you? So, where was I going? Yes, here I was. Thank you, Lord. So, do you go to work every day and go straight to your supervisor or the boss or the owner and ask them, what am I doing today? Unless you have a position like that. I had one like that. But all I had to do was go pull the paperwork out of my folder and I knew what I was doing. So I really didn't even have to go talk to my boss on anything. I already knew what I was doing. Eliminated that. I knew what to load up. But there was still communication from him. Now, how many of you just go into work and you know exactly what you're doing? You might run a machine, or you might be a surgeon, you might be a nurse, you might be a lawyer, you might be a doctor, you might be a trash man collector, you might be a truck driver, you might be a donut maker, you might be a taco maker, you might be a biscuit maker. I'm exhausted already. Okay, I think we got it. Sometimes I can go on and on. It's like, never mind, I was going to say the romper room thing, but some of you probably are not even old enough to realize it. Some of you probably go, yeah, it was stupid. I agree. But anyways. But when you first started, you went on an interview. You may even interviewed with the owner of the company. You got to know each other. They ask you questions, and they may run into you, hey, how's such and such? Or you might have had something happen in your life, and they reach out to you to see how you're doing. And you got people at work you talk to. Yeah, here comes the part you're not going to like. And you spend a lot of time at work. We spend a lot of time at work. You realize how much time we spend at work? You realize how much time you actually spend sleeping? That's why they say to have a comfortable bed and have everything that's going to make you comfortable, because you spend a lot of time there. Sleep is very important. What does that have to do with your boss? I'm glad you asked. You know things because you have that relationship. You may even tell other people what the company wants you to do. because you got it from a higher source. I think some of you probably are already getting this. You're right. If we don't spend enough time with God in that secret place, and if we don't spend enough time with Jesus, we can't do our job. We can't. Because we don't know what He wants today. I wake up in the morning, sometimes my prayer is very short. When I say it's very short, I mean I pray for family, I pray for friends, I pray for people here on YouTube, I pray for the world, but I pray most of all for His will to be done. I pray for Darlene, I pray for a good day for her at the pantry, and people actually come there to work and not just come there to make a nuisance. And it is, people, that place is exhausting. Last Thursday I spent there, last week, oh my gosh, I was ready to go. I was ready to scream and go. And I'm not a quitter. I don't like to quit stuff. But I was ready to quit that day. Maybe I wasn't supposed to go that day. You know what? I didn't even ask God. Because I knew she was short-staffed. But even those type of sacrifices will not get me into heaven. You want to see darkness, people? Start looking around you. It's everywhere. Control is coming. They got to take this money source away. They got to take your freedom, which will bring on the mark of the chip. So they got to put fear. How do they put fear? By controlling things. But yet people are still raising their hands saying, well, I want to live through this. I bet you if you walked up to anybody and said, hey, would you like to go to hell right now? Do you truly just want to go to hell? I mean, honestly, you don't even got to finish this life. You can just go straight there right now. I bet you people look at you like you're crazy. How many of you get together during holidays? And again, now you must think of the swine, the pig. You ever stop and think why Jesus separates family members? I didn't really put a lot of thought into it until He gave me this teaching, and I'm giving you right now. Why He separates certain people out of your life? Because they're frustrated. Maybe I'm frustrating the people. A lot of people on here tell me how frustrated I am. But I'm okay. I'm doing what God has called me to do. Same as He told His disciples, go out and speak about Him, which leads to the Father. If I speak of the Father, it speaks about Him. I don't have no legacy. My legacy is He who has saved me. The man that wouldn't let go of me. I let go of His hand and He gripped my wrist even tighter. And He says, I will not let go as long as you accept me. And then I have no choice but to let go. Now, I didn't understand what that truly meant for a long time. And I remember sitting there one night, and I know it's some of the stuff I speak about it is difficult for some people to hear it, because some people are so madly in love with the Lord. I would expect this to be difficult. It'd be the same as I come up and talk about one of your children or your spouse or even you. I was sitting there drinking, not really feeling much about the world. Basically, I was pretty numb if that ever really took the case. It's pretty sad that I can say that I never knew what being drunk really felt like until I got older and stopped drinking. But then I never really truly had a hangover, because I really, I would know where to stop at a point. Doesn't mean I didn't get sick. I'm glad I got sick. The more sicker I got, the more I go, man, this sucks. If I would have got sick a long time ago doing this, I wouldn't have continued to do this nonsense. But I sat there And I didn't really have nothing good to say. And I know some of you may say, well, was this before the hell or after the hell? Though, people, this was after the hell. You remember when I said I took off and I left for 2 weeks? Well, I didn't really tell anybody what I went and did. I did. I mean, I ended up going out to that church, which I found out later on that was a demonic headquarters. But I went and got alcohol before I went out there. Because it was very hard for me to understand what just happened. It was very hard for me to comprehend in my head that an existence exists, but I can't see it. It was very hard to understand that I took all I took on in life and I was never rescued. And I'll never forget, I laid back outside. It was a nice night. Oh, it wasn't. It was freezing, people. It truly was. It was January, for crying out loud. January 1st. I'll never forget it. But I laid there. I did. I laid on this stoop off the back. And I laid there and just looked up at the sky and said, you expect me to believe you created all this? Nonsense. And the world is this hateful. You expect me to believe all that? There's good out here. I don't see no good. You expect me to believe your love? Well, sometimes you got to watch how far you push something. But that very man that rescued me that night out of hell and out of that sinking well that I was in, come and looked right at me, pulled me up by the shirt, and said, you have a choice of freedom to do as you will. Doesn't necessarily mean it is my Father's will. All this complaining you do, you suffer because you blame somebody instead of yourself. You want me to blame myself for what happened to me. That wasn't what he was meaning. I couldn't let go. See, we have hate because we can't let go of the past. Racial war is one of the biggest nonsense wars. But I bet you if we took some people from Africa that gets very dark, and we lined everybody up to their skin color, now think about this. I'm not trying to upset anybody. I'm just making a point. And being the front of the line is first, and all the way at the end of the line is last. Where do you think Caucasian white people would fit in? Pretty much at the end of the line. Isn't that the same as saying that, and I'm not making this lightly, people. I don't agree with what happened. I don't agree with them hanging people from trees. I don't agree with them dipping people in oil and burning them. I don't agree with them coming here and taking over the land from the Native Americans. They're the ones that have the biggest rights to complain about anything. They were living fine until we came over here. But if I did my research right, and I believe I did, I believe Columbus is a Jew. So him of all people, you wouldn't think that would do something like that. History's full of mistakes. Go back to Moses, leading Israel out from the Egyptian. They did nothing but what? Complain. See, people, we expect God to save us, don't we? From what? Ourselves? Do you realize the Antichrist has to be put in place? And it's in the Bible. You can Google it. AI will tell you anything you want to know. You realize the Antichrist will be in place for we will know the existence for at least, I think it's like 44 days, 47 days or something like that, before Christ, you see the rapture actually take place. So many people want to know if Donald Trump's the Antichrist. I seriously doubt it. Maybe. Maybe he's just being put back into place. Maybe Donald Trump's the guy, the man on the pale horse, and hell followed with him. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. That's falsely accusing. I'm not falsely accusing him, I'm just saying. Maybe that's the pale horse rider. See, I read the Bible. The Lord reads a lot of this stuff to me. Gives me the skin's peeling. But the Lord gives me a lot of ways of looking at it that I can understand. So I try to give it to you in the simple way that He gives it to me. Because some of it doesn't make sense. It's like trying to solve a mystery, but if you don't have all the evidence and all the facts, you have to do what? Detective work. There you go. Well, sometimes we got to be that detective and dig into that Bible. We got to read it. We got to live by it. We got to trust God's promises. Because I'll tell you right now, He has never showed me anything in the Bible that has not come true. Every promise He's told me, He has kept it. Have I? No. I wish I could say yes. See, I was one of them people that believed you asked for something, you didn't get it, God didn't want to give it to you, and blah, blah, blah. Well, I learned later on, I'm asking for the wrong stuff. It's no good for me. What do you mean? You said if I ask for anything. Kind of like you believe God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son to the earth, and whoever shall believe in Him shall have an eternal life in heaven. Well, the key word is believing. The key word is obeying. The key word is following. The key word is being a Christian. The key word, I can go all day with key words, people, until you really sit back and think about it. It doesn't say, only thing it says, as Christians, to fellowship, to be together, because Christians united together is a big problem to the devil. Why? Where two or more comes together and pray, I'm in the midst. The devil knows this. He doesn't want us in the midst. Why do you think COVID had to happen? What do you think they went after the churches? Let's shut this down. Because he knew if we went in there and prayed. Instead, we put on masks and we paraded ourselves around. So many people copied what other people said. Oh, I'm not afraid to die. I'm ready to go to heaven. No, you're not, because you're the first one to go in there and complain, you hypocrite. If you're that fearful, then why did the people stay at home? Why did the people that want to wear the mask, why didn't they stay home? Why did we have to choose? But I blame the pastors. There was a pastor down in Tampa, went to jail. I almost said prison, but it wasn't prison, jail. He went to jail. So did a few other members and people of the church also. Later on, the cases were dropped and they were refunded their money. And nothing was brought against them. Praise hallelujah, hallelujah. And I said right in because we were doing pantry the day we were preparing. I don't know if we actually had pantry that day because it was every other week. And I said, man, if it was that far, I'd go to that guy's church. And the pastor of the church was standing right there looking at me. You'd be surprised how many times I went up to pastors and tell them stuff the Lord told me and I didn't want to, but the Lord told me to go do it. And I sat there one day and I refused to do it, and I felt like I was going to throw up, people. I literally did. As soon as I went up and did it, I felt better. So I don't need that feeling no more when he tells me to do something. I don't need a great whale or a great fish, as the Bible says, which we believe is a whale, to swallow me up. My thing is, that whale had to continue to eat, so all that food was coming in there, was being digested exactly where Jonah was. Whether or not he sat in the boat or if Jonah was in there by himself, I don't know, but I think about that's got to be a horrible way to spend 3 days. But how many situations have you been in? How many situations have you spent your time in when you shouldn't have been? And pain and misery. I know I was married 24 years. And I kept saying I'm going to stick through it no matter what it is. And there will come a time in the day. I got married so I could give a piece of paper saying, you're out of my life. Crazy thought, I know, but that was my thought, and that's exactly what I did. And I'll never forget, my divorce was given to me on my birthday. I was the happiest person in the world. And that day, I think it was on a Friday, if I remember right. And I took the rest of the day off. Took the weekend off. I said, I think my youngest daughter and son, I never really knew where my son was because he never was really truthful telling me where he was at. Sometimes he'd tell me he was going to his mom's, and never was there. I hear that he was over at Misty's house or somebody's house and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, well, and see, it's amazing how they look at me, but yet I lost trust in what he was telling me. I didn't believe him anymore because he told me so many things that wasn't true. And I trusted him to be at the house, and then I found out he was having people come over when I wasn't home. See, no matter what, we may think we can get away with something, but God always knows. Truth will always find its way to you. I know sometimes we go through difficult times, like this week. This week went fast, but it was a long, hard week. This is probably one of the most stressful, hardest week I've had in trucking in a long time. And it beat me down. I mean, it really did. I mean, I was ready to throw in the towel on Wednesday going, man, I can't do this. But I knew that night I just had to go to prayer. See, I don't need to give God my laundry list of what I need. All I need to do is go to God and pray. Pray for this world, pray for these pastors, pray for these leaders, pray for these teachers, to make sure these kids are not allowing this woke and transgender and adult toys and all these things to come into their schools, that somebody's going to stand up. I look about how much money we give out to other countries, and the sight that I seen last night was sad. Very sad. Does anybody notice anymore when you drive down the road, our streets and stuff are becoming more and more disgusting? Trash everywhere. What have we become? You know what we've become? We're throwing trash out into the trash that we live in. We have no more respect. Dark days, people. Take a look around you. You don't need 3 days of darkness to be locked in your place. You'll be in so much fear. What if your phone quit tomorrow? What if it quit? Oh, seriously. What if you had no communication and you wasn't allowed to leave your house? What if you're in there with a spouse that you really can't get along with? You're going to be in a world of hurt. What if it's your time to go shopping and they say, okay, we need to scan your hand. Oh, nothing's showing up. Oh, let's try the forehead. Nope, nothing's showing up. Well, we're sorry, you can't buy anything, but you can go right over there and accept the chip or the mark. No, I'm not going to do that. All right, well, you got to go home. Day 4 goes by, your day turns around and comes back to you. You go back up there and they tell you the same thing. This time you're so hungry, you may even have kids at home that are depending on you. What do you do? Once you take that mark, you're done. But you think we would have learned before all this happened. Trust in Jesus. Jesus is enough. How's that song? You can have all this place, just give me Jesus. I knew I was forgetting something in that truck. I was forgetting my sunglasses. Couldn't wait to get out of there. You know, people, we have a life. We have people out here, and we're so doggone afraid the world's going to think something wrong about us. I remember one time when somebody was offended at a maintenance job I had because of my cross hanging out. The property manager come up to me and she says, "You got to tuck your cross in." I said, "I will not. If it falls out, it falls out." Well, people are offended. I don't care who's offended. Maybe I'm offended by the way they look, or what they wear, or what they dress as. Maybe I'm offended by the music they listen to. Are you going to fire me if I don't? Well, I can. That's not what I asked you. Are you going to fire me if I don't? If they have another complaint, I may have to. Well, then you might as well fire me now. Where are you going to work? Obviously, God don't want me here. He's already got me a door open. You just don't worry about it. Well, needless to say, I didn't get fired. Because I showed God that I trust and I believe in Him. And I guess that's why it hurts so much when people say the stuff they say about me. Because they really don't even know me. I thank God that He changed that wild streak in me. I thank God that He has calmed that storm in me. Do I think I could beat up the whole entire world? I never said that either. Although somebody asked me that. So do you think you're the baddest person on this earth? And just to hear you speak of this, the only thing you're grasping a hold of is what you want to hear. You're not grasping a hold of what I'm saying. The only thing I'm saying is I don't fear man. I don't fear death. The only thing man can do to me is send me to heaven. And if that's the case, they're going to take my breath. They're going to kill me. I'm not afraid to go and have somebody kill me. What, you miss stuff down here? Miss what? Anybody who's a true follower of Christ, I'll see him again. I don't go to funerals because I think they're fake. People just cry and scream and carry on and want to be the center of attention. Yuck. I don't know. Do I have all the answers? No. Do I seek the answers? Yes. Do I pray daily? Yes. I ask him what he wants. Sometimes that's all I get out. Sometimes I don't even ask for nothing in my life. I just ask him, Father, you know what I need. You know where I'm supposed to be. If you need me to move to somewhere else, then let me know. Show me the signs. Every time he has opened doors that people said could not be reopened. I said, well, you don't know the power of God then. I was so set. I'm thinking I'd never get rehired at this one company. And they end up calling me. Would you like your job back? Well, I knew that was God right there. I didn't have to ask God. I knew that was God. I got that song in my head now. You can have all this place, just give me Jesus. It's a good song. Yeah, some people, they just, they think I come against them. They think making fun of them. I'm not making fun of nobody. All I'm simply saying is these survivalists that want to teach you how to survive, what are they teaching you to survive? Through the tribulation? Wait, you think that? And you know what? This is what really gets me. In case you want to know. Good, I'm glad you did, because I'm going to tell you. The thing that really gets me is these people that think, because they can shoot far away, they're going to stop anybody from coming on their property. Now, people, I don't know about you, but that's got to be the most dumbfoundedest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's like saying you're going to get in a fight and 20 people are going to come out of the woodworks and 20 people are going to come at you all at once and you're going to beat them all up. Now, I'm thinking you probably could take a few of them. But all of them? Seriously, no. And I ain't talking about none of that Steven Seagal with his hand and pushing on the person's shoulder type garbage. And again, I'm not making fun of karate. I'm not making fun of Tai Chi and Taekwondo and all that. When you tell people Taekwondo was basically a dance, I mean, you should see the look on people's faces. It's like, what do you mean? It's a dance. Oh, you don't know what it stands for? Well, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. Whew. I'm beat, people. You know, I never know what happened to that one video I did. And honestly, I was in a kind of a bad spot that day, and I was like pretty much done with going. I think I'm done doing videos. I think I'm done doing all this. And usually when I say that, it's like somebody's always on there going, I'm glad you had this video up today because it helped me. I went on and read the monthly report. They sent it to me in my email, so I opened it up just to see it. And it's amazing. I mean, man, we're reaching 2% is over in, I have to pull it back up. I don't want to tell you the wrong country, but I was amazed. I was like, wow. That means, whoa, damn. Woo. Get the hell off underneath this freaking guy. Oh my God. I guarantee that just jacked my car up. And he's not even going to pull over. Good God, man. I hope the person behind me is okay, because they went off the road. And there was too much traffic. I couldn't stop. But I think the car behind them stopped. I don't even want to look at my car. Doesn't matter. Give it all to Jesus. See, I could be mad. I could be going, oh my gosh, my car is probably dented. It is wobbling now. Not that I don't have enough problems with it. I'm not complaining because it still gets me to A to B. I used to be, really, because I was a car person. It actually scared me more than anything because I seen that chunk of tire come whipping up off that truck, and I seen it just flying in the air, and I'm going, nah, this isn't gonna. I was just glad it didn't hit the windshield because it would have probably broke my windshield. So thank God for that. Thank you, Lord, for protecting me and keeping me out of harm's way. Whatever the hood looks like in the fender and everything else, it is what it is. It's how we handle situations, people. Things are going to happen to us. That's why I tell people, do not ride next to the back of a trailer where the tires are, called the tandem. So if you ever hear anybody ever say the tandems, you don't want to be next to them, and you don't want to be on the next set, which are the drives, which the 8 tires that sit up there, right under the front of the trailer, those tires. And you sure don't want to be in front where that stair tire is, because if that thing comes loose and that big boy's coming across wherever he's going, because you got to speed up. If you're not able to speed up to slow down, I know it sounds crazy. It's bad. I mean, it's seriously, one of them front tires goes out, it's bad, people. I mean, you have no control over that truck unless you get under control of that truck. And that's not something they teach you at truck driving school. That's not something they teach you at orientations. You learn it by well, actually Schneider did, because they had this simulator machine where you went in there and sat and they would do stuff like that. But it's still not the same until it actually happens. You're holding on for dear life because it's like a rodeo in itself. I never rode a bull for 8 seconds, but I guarantee it. I can imagine what it feels like. But I do ask God for stuff. I do. I don't ask for a new car. I ask for this car to last, and I ask for something dependable if He does give me a new one. Now this thing's wobbling like crazy. Tomorrow's another day. You know, I went back and watched some of their older videos. And it's kind of crazy because when you read the reviews on there, how many people actually return? Are they new viewers or old viewers? And 22% last month were return viewers, and the rest were all new viewers. I think the old viewers probably got tired of listening to me talk. And then you read some of the comments, people say that all I do is come against people. I try to make them look ignorant. No, I'm not. I'm trying to set them in a different direction. I mean, if you have the rights to speak to someone that has come against you, why is it wrong that I do it? Why is it wrong if I know what the devil is and I go after the devil? I'm not afraid of the devil. Some of you will be real soon. In this lockdown, when they figured out how to lock us back down, let me know. I recommend when everybody's running out buying all this food and buying all this water and filling your cars up, I say, why don't you go somewhere and get yourself a Bible? You have something to read when your phone quits. You can pray for peace. Some of you may need that. You might not even know your own family. It's up to you what you do, how you do it, when you do it. So hopefully I cleared up a lot of things about this eclipse. Is it going to happen 30, 40 years again from now? I think it's going to be before that. I honestly think, for some reason, I thought it was like 9 years from today when it happens. 9 years later, it'll happen again. I might be wrong on that, but I don't know where in the world they're coming up with this 2044 thing. But you know what's very interesting about this? Look it up, people. And you're going to see it, and you're going to come, and hopefully people will come back on here and go, you know what, Nelson, you're right. I know I'm right because I'm telling you this stuff. This is the stuff that I go, what in the world? The devil's comment is flying right towards you and will pass through. Whether or not you're going to be able to see it or not, but it's going to pass right through when this eclipse takes place. How many of you want to go stand out there now and watch this? Somebody said that they were listening to the NASA and the scientists and all this stuff. They're saying because the sun's going to be so close, you have a chance of being like you got a sunburn. You may even blister up. I'm thinking, okay, well, how can you take that away? I mean, the sun's a ball of fire, basically. So I imagine if it's extremely close, okay, well, that is possible. But I tell you what, I'm not going to go stand out there and find out. I don't really care. I hate to say it like that, but I really don't. If I had a choice to have a day off and go there, or I would have to work, people, I'd rather work. You may say, well, even if I got offered to get a whole day's pay to go stand there, I would still go to work. And I tell you the truth, I would not lie to you. Here's why. Because first of all, I know what Jesus says about liars. There you go. But first of all, let's just think about this. I'm not a big person to wait in lines. I don't like sitting in traffic, trying to get out of traffic, because I just went up there and stood 9 minutes and watched some ridiculous, or 4 minutes, or 7 minutes, whatever it is, watch some ridiculous the moon pass in front of the sun, blah, who cares? It's going to be all over the internet 20 seconds after it ends. Just saying. Some people say if you use your phone and you look at your phone, you can actually go blind. Well, I don't know. But I'm not willing to stand out there and try it either. But then you're going to be pitying, woe is me, and why did this happen? Well, because you probably be like taking a magnifying glass and holding it up there and holding it straight on you. And then you wonder why you got a hole burnt through you. It's amazing. So that being said, I'm going to dig more into these tablets when I get home. After I get some rest, of course. And whatever happens, people, if it is a lockdown and you're able to communicate with people, by all means communicate. Start examining yourself. Stop being afraid to speak of Jesus Christ. If you truly love Him, you should want to. You speak about your children, your spouses, your dogs, your cats, your fish, your gerbils, your animals, your horses, your sheep, your camels, your birds, your snails, goldfish. You speak about all that stuff, but you don't really speak about Jesus too much. But some people get offended. Well, I'm tired of taking Jesus out of everything. Well, then why don't we do something about it? Just saying. All right. So, God bless you guys. Until the next one.